Good day, everyone, and welcome. We have Sean Harrison with us on the Fresh FM Radio London platform. So we're going to have what we call, as part of our Reggae Global and Culture Dialogue series. So Mr. Sean Harrison, good to meet you, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. It's actually, I've got to tell you that it's actually Sean C. Harrison. Yes,
Absolutely. Sean
yes,
D. Harrison, we must
C.
remember.
Harrison. Yes,
Excellent. What does the C stand for?
that's Christopher.
Christopher. Okay. Sean C.
Yeah.
Harrison. Excellent. Excellent. You're an author, singer, poet, everything. And we're going to get into all of that.
Okay.
But before
Can't
we
wait.
do, but before we do, where were you born and where did you grow?
Well, for most of my life, I've been in the eastern end of Jamaica,
Mm,
in the parish, the wonderful parish of St. Thomas. I grew up in the community of Red Hills Spend Housing Scheme.
mhm,
Um, that was a that is um, a basically lower middle class community with my mother and father and siblings and wonderful community members. Right, that's near to the parish capital, Morant Bay.
mhm,
So I grew up all my life in Red Hill Spend Housing Scheme
mhm.
or on Red Hill Spend Housing Scheme.
Yeah, St. Thomas, Morant Bay, St. Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. So Sean, when did you first discover your love for music?
Well, it might be strange to have you hear that I think from the womb, because my mother, Mrs. Patricia Harrison, was also a singer and a member of a trio called the Trisons in the Morant Bay Seventh-day Adventist Church, who
Mm,
even before my birth and during her pregnancy and after would have been singing all over St. Thomas. My
mhm,
father, so from the womb, I was being acclimatized to
mhm,
music, and my father too, very musical. He played the piano as well as the organ in the Morant Bay Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he too was a part of a quartet called Heralds of the Hour. And a very musical family. There was music all around. So I would say from the womb, believe me. And I must say also that my mother always tells a story very fondly of me that when I was 3 months old, only 3 months old, and she would sing and make gesticulations, twinkle, twinkle, little star. And I was only 3 months old. She would see me forming and hear me forming sounds with my mouth and also doing the action. So, that should tell you from how early, I was being prepared to be a musical person. Yes.
Excellent. So as you became older, then, so how were you when you performed your, how did you feel when you performed your first song in front of the family?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't exactly remember when I performed my first song in front of the family, but I do know that maybe from the time I was able to form words, I was singing, and it was always a joy to have an audience. And then my parents living on Miramar Drive at the time, not in Red Hills now. When I was about 4 years, I came to Red Hills Spend, but when we were on Miramar Drive, there would always be friends and church members over. And so I would always be putting on a show for them, and also my family. So it was wonderful in my family. There was always music around, always singing, always playing. My father too loved classical music, and we heard classical music all the time in our houses, in our homes, and also, the other records of persons, who were established singers, mostly Caucasian persons. But yes,
Mm.
it was a good feeling, I would imagine, as it always was,
Sure.
performing for the first time. Yes.
So do you actually remember the first song that you could memorize?
To tell you the truth, I don't. Even though I have quite a good memory, from maybe 2, 3 years old,
Mm.
I know that there was a group called the Heritage Singers, which was an Adventist group whose records we played all the time. And, that was a favorite of mine. That was a favorite of mine. And so I would sing songs, just songs that I heard all around the home. And so because, I was very, very sharp, picking up and absorbing, the things around me that stimulated me.
Right. That's where you got your ideas as well.
Yes, yes.
So how did you feel after your very first public performance as an adult now?
Well, my first public performance as an adult,
Mm.
well, that too I don't remember, but what I do know is that I have been actually singing publicly since the age of 3 years old. I was told by an elderly family friend in recent years, Miss Hyacinth Shaw, that I did my first full-length concert at the Anglican Church Hall in Morant Bay in front of all people from all walks of life, community members.
Mm.
So from the get-go, to tell you the truth, I was always performing at
Mm.
weddings, funerals, church, graduations, your customer appreciation days at the bank, all of those things. But, I was very well received by the community. And that would have made me, have quite, a sense of pride,
Mhm.
and a sense of purpose, singing, all over
Mhm.
and, receiving the compliments and just seeing the smiles and, all the joy that my voice brought for so many years.
Yeah, so what you're really saying is that you sang publicly from your childhood through your
Yes.
teens into adults. You've
Yes.
always been in the public. You've
Yes,
always
my
been
mom.
sharing,
Yes.
singing to the public.
Yes. My mom, Patricia Harrison, always made sure that
Mm.
I was exposed, to the whole world of singing. And so she would always take every opportunity that she had as an adult and as a known family community member to get me in places where I could showcase my talents. Yes.
Excellent. So do you remember the name of the first song that you wrote
Oh,
and,
yes.
and what inspired you at the time?
Okay. Well, the first song I wrote was entitled A Song I Used to Sing.
Mm.
And the truth is that I wrote that song at age 14, and I had always loved to sing and hear love songs. I developed quite an affinity for ballads, R&B, soul ballads. And, that song actually would have, the subject matter that it spoke about would have been, something that was done in reverse, because usually when you're young and you have your first love and your first crush and everything, you're singing about the joys of love. But I was actually singing about heartbreak.
Mhm.
Song love is a song I used to sing.
Mm.
Love, all the joy it used to bring. Why did you leave me here alone when you knew I couldn't make it on my own? It was just, the fact that I was always hearing songs about heartbreak, and, it just came naturally. And then I started after that to write more love songs, until, when I reached a certain age and, went through some other things, I started writing more gospel and inspirational sounding songs.
Mm.
Yes. But the song I used to sing was my very first composition at 14 years old.
Mm. So is that your favorite song? Would you
No,
say?
actually, it is not. No, actually, it is not. I don't necessarily have absolute favorites, but there are some that do stand out. There are some that do stand out. And the truth is, that first song that I wrote, I never ever performed it publicly.
Okay.
But as I grew and as my affinity for making wonderful melodies, grew and developed. I could definitely say there were other songs that I definitely loved to sing or, loved, as compositions more than others, but not a song I used to sing, no.
As you say that, where does the inspiration come?
Well,
Or the melodies that you make, where do they come into your mind?
Well, to tell you the truth, sir, as I said, having had, that grounding, listening to a lot of music, classical, ABBA, you had ABBA, we listened to like Skeeter Davis, we listened to Pat Boone a lot, we listened to Oral Roberts. There was a lot of Christian music, in my home because we started out as a Christian family. And so, to tell you the truth, all that just seeped into my consciousness would have contributed to my writing beautiful, curvaceous melodies through the years. And I must say that one of my primary influences, as I mentioned before, was the group ABBA. I was always struck by how beautiful their melodic structures were in their songs. And also later, when I got to understand some of the lyrics that they actually put to those melodies, to tell you the truth, man, I was totally blown away and I was totally inspired. But it all came together, listening to a wide array of music. It all came together, to help me to be the melodist I am today.
Yeah, I understand. So you're also a poet. So
yes,
tell us a bit about your poetry and again, what inspired you?
Well, to tell you the truth, and I've got to say, even going further, both with music and poetry, I just will say that life itself inspires me.
Okay.
Actually, poetry came about by accident because it was when I first was not able to pen songs because of, the fact that having been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia at age 19, I, because of the medications, was not able to sing anymore, sing well or sing publicly. And even for the songs I wrote, to just get them down on the cassettes was quite a chore. And so, when I realized that it didn't seem I was going to be able to be that singer I wanted to be, then, after making a few fledgling attempts at poetry, I started delving more seriously into the writing of poetry. And so singing and songwriting took a backseat to that for a number of years, and, as I say, a lot of my experiences, especially, post-schizophrenia, actually shaped, quite a bit of my poetic expressions. And also I started out writing Christian poems because I dedicated my life to the Lord since the age of 16, recommitted my life to the Lord at the age of 16 years. And from then way into adulthood, even until now, I still, have that, that grounding where even if I don't write poetry, even if I don't write songs, most of what I do that you can see on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok videos, YouTube, it's always Christian, it's mostly Christian based. But let me tell you, man, life itself, as I walked my own roads of pain and heartache and having had the experience, especially of mental illness, having interacted widely too with a number of persons and in a number of communities, of persons, the church, my Rastafarian friends, just, acquaintances all over, having also had, done a brief stint at the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. I was really exposed from an early age to a lot of things concerning the workings of life. My parents made sure we had books, encyclopedias, made sure we had books that we could read to expand our minds. So to tell you the truth, the influences on me are very wide and varied.
It really sounds though that the words and melodies have been a source of healing as well.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we love reggae on Fresh FM Radio London. This is
Okay.
the final question. What is your favorite reggae song of all time, Sean C. Harrison?
Okay, well, to tell you the truth, when I hear D. Brown's, the great Mr. Dennis Brown, the late great Mr. Dennis Brown's Love Has Found Its Way,
Okay.
it just transports me, you know, to my Jamaican experience.
Yeah.
The sights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes, everything. I got to say that if there were ever a favorite reggae song, that might be it. Love Has Found Its Way. Yes.
Great to end on. Right, before we go, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they find you? Tell us.
Well, the truth is that I'm on a number of the major platforms, social media platforms. I have an Instagram account. That's most of what you find on me on the internet, on net, is under the name Sean C. Harrison. So you only need to put in that search word, that search term, and you find a number of different media, videos on YouTube, my YouTube channel. I have 2 Facebook pages, one dedicated strictly to my poetry and the other for general posting, where I do discourses, I write quotes, I do also videos on that, and a number of other things. And as well, there is TikTok. I have a TikTok account and also Twitter at probably, a low level of activity, but I do post on Twitter sometimes. And also generally, there are websites on which you can access my poetry and, basically when you do a search of Sean C. Harrison.
Just search Sean C. Harrison.
You see everything.
Thank you very much, Sean C. Harrison. It's been great to talk to you. And you take care of yourself and welcome to the Fresh FM Radio London platform.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Yes, sir. Yes.